Oh yes. Before we get started, can everybody throw in like a present or I don't know, a slice of cake, a little whatever that your favorite emoji is for our dear friend Mark Kremer. His birthday is today. Unfortunately, and fortunately, he's fortunate to be with us, but unfortunately, there you go. His birthday's on April Fool's Day, which has got to be right up there with being a week away from Christmas as far as one of the more annoying birthdays to have. So for all the years you put up, Mark, with the idea of your birthday landing on April Fool's Day so that you get like gag gifts and all kinds of shit like that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that the comedian's Christmas is your birthday in that regard. I feel like we should celebrate your half birthday in the middle of the summer, so at least you can do something fun, you know. I'm just throwing that out there. There you go. So happy birthday, Mark. I'm sorry that on your birthday I have to show you this face. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that think, wait, it is Clark Kent trans? No. It's super dipshit. I'm kidding. This is Judge Boxwine herself. Judge Boxwine. And by the way, I think as Musk is on, she's wearing her kind of muted makeup today. If you notice that, like, she's not wearing her fucking clown makeup red that she wears a lot of times, and she's underdoing it. I think she's had a image consultant come in, but she has on Elon Musk. Now I've seen a piece of this, but I have not seen the full interview. And some of you might say, and you wouldn't be 100% wrong, that Hal, you're only showing this clip or wanting to talk about it because they use your footage. Yeah. Can I just say for the record that our dear friend Boston Brian sent me, I wouldn't have even known that he was on this fucking show if it hadn't been for the fact that Boston Brian sent me a still from this where I think he's on screen and they're during this. Yeah, there we go. And they're playing my footage. And I have to say, again, like I said in my Blue Sky post, and if you don't follow me on there, what the fuck is wrong with you? That I would like to say that I do not condone arson or vandalism in any sense. Honestly, I'm not just saying this for cover. It's wrong. And arson should be treated as attempted murder because it's the wanton endangerment of anybody. If somebody was in that building or the building next door, they could have died and you don't give a fuck. Anybody who sets fire to a bunch of shit should go to jail for attempted murder. Period. End of fucking story. Okay, just let's be clear about that, especially electric cars. Jesus Christ, where the batteries can cook off. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hal, if the batteries didn't cook off, you wouldn't have gotten such exciting footage of it popping like that, and it wouldn't be all over the news because it wouldn't have been as dramatic. Sure. So, therefore, I'm profiting from arson, and I feel terrible about it. That said, if I make anywhere near some money on this fucking footage that is everywhere, for Christ's sake, I'm gonna finally buy my next vehicle, and it's gonna be an electric vehicle that ain't a Tesla. That's all I'm saying. And I was like, like somebody suggested a vanity plate F Elon, but I was like, then I'm just driving around with felon on my license plate. Silly. And I feel like I should do something more positive, like 5 Park 5 rules RLZ, something like that. Okay, here we go. That's too many letters. I know. Let's go.
President Trump's tech support, Elon Musk, has been shaking up Washington with his DOGE crusade to cut government waste as he becomes public enemy #1 for the Democrats, who are hell-bent on destroying his companies and making him the boogeyman of tonight's special elections. One of those races, Musk says, could affect the destiny of humanity. The billionaire has been rallying voters in Wisconsin to get behind conservative Brad Schimmel in today's high-stakes Supreme Court race. Elon Musk joins us now for an exclusive interview. Thank you so much for joining us, Elon. We are thrilled to have you on The Five.
Thank you for having me.
We're delighted to have you. So,
is the audio too low on this one? Hold on, I'm trying to make it louder because it seems kind of tepid volume wise. I'm, I think it's okay, right? Is it all right for you guys? Just checking before we get into this. Waiting for the Aptera solar car? Absolutely. And Aptera's solar panels are now going to be used on a truck. Okay, good. Audio's good? Excellent. Okay. As good as it can be when it's these two voices, but you understand. I like Tesla. All right.
why is this race in Wisconsin so important? And what is your response to Democrats who've tried to make tonight's elections a referendum on you?
That it's your fault.
Well, the reason tonight's elections are so important is that the judge race will decide whether the Wisconsin districts get redrawn. They're going to try to gerrymander Wisconsin to remove
No.
Republican seats. And as you know,
because the Republicans are overrepresented.
The House is currently Republican by a razor-thin margin, which means that
yes, a mandate.
This judge race has a good chance of causing Republicans to lose control of the House. If you lose control of the House, there will be no.
Sorry, I was getting excited just for a minute. I love being threatened with a good time. Pardon me. But just letting that seep into my nerve endings. That's sorry. You were saying that you have a razor thin margin that's nowhere near a mandate, and if the law is applied sensibly, they will lose control of the House. Gotcha. Okay, please continue.
Stop impeachment hearings. There will be nonstop hearings and subpoenas. And it's going to be, they're going to do everything.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't see a problem so far. So what's the point of concern?
To stop the agenda that the American people voted for.
Well, I mean, half. So the other half would have a say, and it turns out that half was underwater compared to what the actual desires of the voter was. So
they voted for President Trump with a popular vote and the House and the Senate in November. They're going to do everything possible to stop the president's agenda. And so it's incredibly important that people in Wisconsin go out and vote right now, contact their friends and family, contact their neighbors, and take them to the polling stations, which close at 8 p.m. tonight.
Sorry, can't they just order a free Cybertruck automated vehicle to drive them to the polls?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you want them to arrive alive at the polls and not crash into a barrier and burst into flames or drive off a cliff because your self-driving thinks that a waterway is just a blue road.
You can actually register to vote and vote today.
What? I thought we got rid of that shit.
Extremely tight race.
I hope they have to show proof of citizenship.
This is a race that will be decided by maybe 0.5% or 1%. It's really neck and neck.
So it's totally mandate is what you're saying. It's just another example of the Trump mandate that the voters really want this. That's why it's a razor thin margin. Do you think this ever fucking makes its way through to any of these dipshits? That if you're arguing about this kind of razor thin margin, it cuts against the whole mandate, everybody wants this idea that it's just one talking point has the other talking point in a fucking headlock. You think it ever occurs to them, like, wait a minute, if there was a mandate, it wouldn't be razor thin in all these areas. Wait a moment.
So this could be decided by a single voter, potentially.
Yes. Nothing says mandate like a vote that could be decided by one person. This idea just never fucking sneaks up on you dickheads, does it? Look, as Democrats, we got a lot of work to do winning over the electorate, being better at communicating our ideas to people who may not buy in on the jargon or the the lingo specific to what we're talking about. But Democrats are a long way from saying, guys, we're one vote away from a mandate. It's this close. If we get one more person out there, we'll have a mandate. Get the fuck out of here. If we won this by one vote, the conversation would still be, we got a lot of work to do. Right? This asshole's like, this is the greatest thing ever. It's the greatest movement ever that could be decided by one person in Wisconsin.
That's how close it is. And if you know people in Wisconsin, call them right now
and tell them that if Musk is for it, it sucks.
Them to go and vote, and again, ask them to bring their friends, their family, their neighbors. This is a crucial election. There is also a ballot initiative to enshrine voter ID in the Wisconsin Constitution,
which thank God it didn't take effect before this. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do the same kind of same-day vote. It would have eliminated same-day voting as well. So it would have driven down fucking the sovereign citizen vote would go in the fucking toilet.
Essential for election integrity.
Okay. You know, the interesting part of that is for years, people have never really understood, Elon, the significance of this Wisconsin State Supreme Court race. But you make it very clear.
Yeah, for years. They've never understood the importance of this vote that's particular to this exact election and the balance of power that's happening currently. Like nobody was talking about this in 1984.
In terms of gerrymandering and the attempt then obviously to change the number.
To gerrymander it the other direction.
People, congressional seats in Wisconsin. So thank you for that. So we're going to go around the table and continue to ask some questions. So I'll start with you, Greg Gutfeld.
All right, Elon, great to see you.
Finally, someone of equal intellect to have a conversation with Elon Musk. Thank God. Right. Should we do it? We'll find one. Don't worry.
As always, I have two questions.
Yeah.
I have two questions. One, I've noticed in.
All right. One serious question and one comedy question. What do you think the odds are? What do you think? Yep.
You seem incapable of being risk averse. If you see something you want to try, you try it. And so I'm
yeah, like ketamine, for example. Yeah, if you show up at one of those fucking bowl of drugs parties, you'll just fucking throw them in your mouth like they're chiclets and you don't care about the flavor. It's amazing. You're risk averse. And even when I mean, obviously, you're not the one at risk when you cut Medicare and Medicaid benefits because that risk is absorbed by the elderly and the indigent and the sick and children, So it's not really, I don't even know if you can call it risk averse if you're not the one at risk, but sure.
Wondering what kind of advice would you give to a young person whose fear of failure keeps them from taking risks that would actually enrich?
Oh my God. What would you give as you want to tell our nation's youth about taking chances so they can be a super genius too? Jesus Christ. This is like a segment they play on Kids Say the Dumbest Fucking Things.
Lives, whether it's career or personal life. And my next question is when?
Well, it ain't don't do drugs. Let's be clear. And it certainly isn't settle down and have a family. It's also, what's the advice? Be born into apartheid Nepo family, an apartheid Nepo family environment and use blood emerald money to spread around during the dot-com bubble on a bunch of things where by shotgun approach, some of it's bound to do well.
Hell are you doing my show? I've left voicemail messages.
The first one and then the second one was a funny question, right? What I say, why won't you do my show? I think this segment is probably why.
I've sent carrier pigeons. I get no response.
Like me. Well, I'll be happy to do your show. I I've seen pieces of your show, and it's very funny. Actually, it's my style of humor. So
It's your style of humor. So just, I've never seen anybody actually actively define their style of humor as monotonous, lacking in punchlines, self-involved, inside baseball, masturbatory blather. But okay, well, you know, hey, you like what you like, I guess.
I look forward to doing your show.
Awesome.
And taking what little humor might exist there and I don't know, throwing it out a window, or putting it in a self-driving car and letting it careen into a retaining wall.
To what to tell young people, I think it's always good when thinking about something that you're afraid of. When thinking about fear, look fear straight in the eye, and it will disappear.
Unless that, of course, fear is of a poisonous snake or a black bear on a trail, or maybe you're looking at the heroin needle and going, "I'm afraid of needles." Look at right in the eye, and maybe that's where you inject it, so they won't find track marks if you're worried about your probation officer or something. Fuck off. Okay, who did the? Hold on, we got to pause for a second and scroll down here. Who did the? Oh, I missed him. Where we go? Where'd you go? To the whoever did the free Mario bullshit. Fuck off. Just saying. I am against the death penalty, especially the death penalty without trial, for the record, in all cases.
Okay. All right.
The nature of fear is that people don't look at it.
Yeah.
Look at it directly, and it will be gone.
Yeah, unless you're at the edge of a building and you're like, I'm afraid gravity will pull me to the cement.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good advice.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It's how you die of a fentanyl overdose because you think you're just taking Adderall at a fucking college party, you fucking moron.
All right, Jesse.
Jessica, look at me. Look at me. Face your fears, Jessica. Elon, how
Ugh.
are you? I'm Jesse Waters. Good to see you. I'm not going to beg for you to come on my show. I know it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, that's where you go to apologize if you're trying to clean up after someone. Yeah.
You said the other day
Absolutely.
you uncovered some evidence that there was massive Social Security fraud and that arrests were imminent.
Yes.
What can you tell us
Massive.
about that? And what can you tell us about what you've seen politicians do to make massive amounts of money off of the federal government, like Nancy Pelosi?
Yeah, show us that. We've said, hey, all this fraud, there should at least be one arrest. One. I mean, millions of cases. Fraud everywhere. One arrest? One that wasn't already in line, that had already been prosecuted like last fucking year.
Please.
Yes. So we've encountered. There's really so much for it. It's deciding what should be prosecuted first because it's such a long.
Yeah, that's the tough part. Yeah, so you're in charge of prosecution. So, you're just sorry. There's so much fraud. You're having a hard time passing it along to Pam Bondi. Okay.
You have to actually.
Sorry. You know what? She's got her schedule's wide open. She's already released the Epstein files.
Prioritize the list. We convey the list to the Department of Justice. The DOJ has a process that they go through to review and think about it. The wheels of justice turn slowly. In fact, obviously, I have a maniacal sense of urgency. So to me, when I see that terrible fraud has happened, I'm like, why haven't we arrested someone already?
Yeah. It might be because it ain't fraud, or you haven't proven anything, or it's actually Republicans doing it. Marjorie Taylor Greene never paid back her PPP loan that she used for her campaign.
As the saying goes, the wheels of justice turn slowly but surely. And
That's not actually the phrase, and stop calling me Shirley.
I think probably the person that stole 400,000 Social Security numbers, at least, maybe more, will be arrested hopefully this week. With respect to the non-governmental organizations, these sort of fake NGOs.
By the way, scammer stole 400,000 American Social Security numbers. According to him, this is, let me shrink this down so you guys can see the whole screen here. So Americans, so I don't know why Americans, I guess, is the apostrophe's on the outside now, because Americans are everybody, or it's just the state of existence for everyone. So pluralizing it is an external thing. What the fuck?
I think there needs to be a number of arrests in that regard as well, because these are fake charities where mostly Democrats, almost, well, I don't want to be clear. There's sometimes a little bit of Republican in there because they
sometimes, but you gotta. It's a matter of priorities. Obviously, we're going to put those way. We take a huge backseat. Now the numbers are higher, but they're fewer.
Throw the Republicans a bone to say, hey, be quiet about this. So that's where you start getting the uniparty thing going on. But it is overwhelmingly to Democrats, and they give give billions of dollars to NGOs.
Let me guess, Stacey Abrams again. We're going to talk about Stacey Abrams again because there's so many of these cases. We have to bring up the same one over and over again that you still haven't proven is fraud.
By Democrats that then go through a whole.
You just disagree with it.
Book of additional NGOs. It's a giant money laundering scheme. Really, at this point, I think.
You do realize at some point, because he's an employee of the government, a special employee, very special employee of the government, that this is defamatory, and that the people involved in this could sue the government for what he's saying here, and I guess in the Oval Office, much easier than if he was just dipshit Elon, owner of the failing car company.
The word NGO and money laundering are almost synonymous.
Isn't SpaceX an NGO? It is. It's a non-governmental organization. It's a private company that does work with the government. So it's an NGO that is, I'm sorry, we're making a distinction between charities that get business from the government to do specific things versus profit-based companies that get business from the government.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you.
Makes sense to me.
No, it doesn't. Nothing was said. Nothing. And if a scammer got 400,000 fucking Social Security numbers when there's 340 million of them, we deal with that kind of shit in a country this size all the fucking time. And we always have. It's not like oh my God.
Hello, Judge. And hello, Elon. Welcome to the Five. Great to talk.
Hi.
Oh, dear.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the anti-Tesla violence.
Yes, let's. Just so we can play house footage.
Your car company was...
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
And no, it's actually quite believable. If you align yourself with the government, shit happens like this. People show up in front of CIA headquarters. They've done it in front of like Boeing and other places because of their military contracts. It's actually happened before. It's not weird at all. Again, don't support it. But for fuck's sake, like the Unabomber tried to get put bombs on planes with altimeter fuses in them, shithead.
A leftist dream come true. It was technologically advanced. It was the word of mouth was better than any car company, arguably on the market.
Until.
And now the left is trying to make it a pariah. But
No. I would like to be abundantly clear. Whatever the left means, I think she means Democrats or anybody that isn't a Trump suck-up qualifies as the left nowadays. So I guess it's all of us. But we're not trying to make it a pariah. It is a pariah. It already is. Because this asshole decided his best financial move for the company was to alienate their customer base by being a prick and a racist. and excusing the baser instincts of Jeffrey Epstein's wingman, and also, you know, is a friend of Ghislaine Maxwell's himself. So there's a lot of pariah to go around, and it didn't require any effort from us. As a matter of fact, I would argue that a lot of people look the other way about Musk's curious background and his behavior because we were so hungry for electric cars to finally make it. He was set up in a situation where we chose the environment over paying attention to what an asshole he was. Now the balance of that has shifted because there's a lot of electric cars out there now, and there's a lot of hybrids out there that are available, whereas he was the only game in town for a while. And when Who Killed the Electric Car came out as a movie, Tesla was the only company that was making electric cars for the market anywhere near the potential scale of the desire for, you know, that buyers had to get them. So this was a Sophie's Choice moment for environmentalists. Yes, he's a fucking apartheid nepo baby with a lot of questionable, very eugenic, Darwinian views of who deserves to live and who deserves to die. But people were like, the electric car company is a good thing, that we should be moving in that direction. Now, it might as well be it's the Kirby of EVs. I would argue that it's the Tucker of EVs now.
Yeah.
Tying their anti-Elon politics to violence. How do you talk the unhinged off the ledge? And
why would he want to talk the unhinged off the ledge? That's his base. They're just you mean because there's a few unhinged people that are on the opposite side of the political spectrum that he's going to dissuade the unhinged among us? That if it wasn't for the unhinged, there wouldn't be anybody still thinking his Tesla stock has legs.
how do you counter that violence that you're seeing at Tesla dealerships?
Yes, it is remarkable that there is so much violence.
Yes, we are remarking on it.
You know, people.
Just knowing. Again, I do not support this kind of violence. It is genuinely wrong. It's fucking dangerous. But the fact that this footage makes him miserable every time he sees it gives me a little bit of joy. Little bit of joy.
Burnt cars, they've fired bullets into dealerships, they've scratched swastikas into Teslas of the innocent people.
Yeah, that part I wouldn't bring up.
They're just going about their lives. They've done nothing wrong. And Tesla's done nothing wrong as a company. And so...
Well, then step down. We went through this shit with Mike Pillow. Don't blame your fucking company. Don't let them say for the betterment of the company, they don't need me. We have great engineers. I'm stepping down as CEO entirely. Put your stock in a fucking blind trust while you're working with the fucking government.
Ironic and incredibly hypocritical that the same Democrat...
Oh no, the violence. Dear God, what the fuck? Hold on. We're looking at toy. Hold on. Back the fuck up. They're smashing toy Teslas, and my footage is way better. This is terrible. Like old people with hammers smashing toy Teslas.
Ironic and incredibly hypocritical that the...
Oh no, my God, the terrorism. This is a little, I gotta say, this is a little pitiful. This is great. This is like, it's almost like we're watching home videos of ex-Musk.
Democrat politicians who would want to throw someone in prison for 20 years simply for watching things at January 6th, but not actually doing any violence.
Whoa, from watching things at January 6th? How'd they watch? Oh, right. They stepped over the bloodstains of assaulted cops to get in the fucking building. Stop with this bullshit. Unless it's okay, Elon Musk, if we all show up at your property and the only person that broke the law is the person who smashes the window and lets the rest of us in. Shut the fuck up with this nonsense. Stop it. If you just watched, the way you got in to just watch is you climbed in through a busted window or you stepped over the bloodstains of cops that were assaulted. Shut the fuck up. This talking point is the weakest of all the January 6th talking points. What? We only carried a flag. That's freedom. That's freedom of speech. You should be able to carry the fucking Confederate flag, a symbol of an insurrection that tried to topple the United States, early in its existence. You'd be able to wave that anywhere you fucking want. What's the difference? I like the Dukes of Hazzard. God damn it. The worst one ever is what? All they did was go in and walk around. They only got in because cops were beaten.
Have you don't hear a single word from them about the actual violence happening?
Yes, you have. I've done more than a single word, asshole. Multiple elected Democrats and others have said, no, we do not support arson and vandalism in these situations at all, period, end of fucking story. That's more than a single word. And I know you guys have problems with the concept of single versus multiple in a lot of situations. For example, Trump said he could solve the fucking Ukraine-Russia conflict in a single phone call or a single hour. And obviously, there have been multiple phone calls and myriad hours between then and now, since the election and now, and it hasn't fucking happened.
Tesla, what incredible hypocrites they are. It's outrageous.
I gotta say, this footage is spectacular. The giant trans black lady that's smashing toy Teslas. Is this footage taken from an airplane about the giant? Maybe this is who they think exists. Maybe they think this is to scale. Like liberals and trans people are and black people are like Godzilla roaming the fucking countryside, stomping on dealerships.
Really, this is fundamentally a case of terrorism. It's wide-scale domestic terrorism with the purpose of intimidation.
Yeah, it's not wide scale. It's specific to a particular brand. It's not. They're not attacking electric cars as a concept. It's across the country. It's wide as far as sea to shining sea. But
and it's harming innocent people. It's really terrible.
Wait, it's harming innocent people? They're being harmed? Now, wait. Look, I don't want innocent people to be harmed.
Of intimidation, and it's harming innocent people.
Oh my God, that's terrible. Did you guys hear that? Innocent people are being harmed, which I got to say sounds pleasant. What a humming.
It's really terrible, and I think what we actually have to get to are the people who are organizing.
It kind of undercuts your whole Jesus Christ, this is terrorism. This is Tesla's 9/11 when you're just showing an overweight black person on a fucking scooter driving into the side of a Tesla at a dealership. I'm not for it, but fucking stop whimpering, you tit.
And paying for these attacks and protests. That's who we really need to go after, because the people who are actually throwing the Molotov cocktails, they are the foot soldiers. Right. But we need to go after the generals, and we're going to do
the generals. Yeah, that's who it is. This is yes. We will fight them at the recharging stations. We will fight them in the parking lots. We will fight them at the collision centers that were oddly empty of Teslas until such time as I started shit talking most Americans. We will fight them everywhere except the stock market, because fuck me.
The president has made it very clear that we're going to go after those that are.
Oh, there it is again. Cha-ching. I don't even know if I'm making it. I should be what do you think? a nickel every time this airs? I got to be able to buy an electric car with just the funds from this at some point, yes? Even if I'm splitting it 50-50 with these storyful people, for fuck's sake, it's everywhere.
And organizing these violent attacks, and Attorney General Bondi has said the same thing. I believe that is exactly what will happen.
Do you know who they are?
We're coming for them.
Do you know who those generals are?
We know. We do.
Yeah, totally. We're absolutely aware of who it's the fuck, what is it? The what are they called? The people who do the it's him, what's his name? The guy who, you know, the guy in charge of all the people who are randomly making it about themselves. All right, if you know who the generals are, fucking say it, stupid. Say it. What is it, Soros? Shut the fuck up. The reality is you've like aggravated and given I guess cause to the same people that were like firebombing federal buildings in Portland, right? Those same fuckers are the people who are doing this stuff. And if you're like, notice the total like lack of like Antifa talking points. That's just fucking gone away. I guess when you pardon everybody that was arrested, you can't say they were all Antifa charging in there or like, and again, I don't know why, we'll say this for another day, but I don't know why Elon Musk is for Antifa being able to just walk around the Capitol.
And hopefully the prosecution will be for RICO and an organized criminal enterprise, which makes...
Yes, I agree. And I hope that some of the emails where he's trying to clear out some of the dead inventory by hiring people or promising people money, you know, for doing the damage themselves gets added to that or whatever. Would it be the irony that, I mean, look, would it be the first time that a businessman who was losing money on a company and wasn't selling units set fire to one of his own places or promoted it or paid for it to be attacked so that they could make money on the insurance instead of trying to sell the goods? I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm just saying Rico Suave.
Penalties
Absolutely.
even more serious.
Yes, the penalties must be taken. Tuck penalty, 0 defects.
And now to Jessica.
Yes, absolutely. These are serious crimes where the organizers and pushers of mass violence will go to prison for a very long time.
Great, very exciting. Yes, mass violence. People who promote mass violence should go to prison for a very long time. Now, about January 6th.
That's right. Okay.
And I hope they see this segment.
Yeah, this is their favorite show.
Well, we'll play it again. Jessica.
Okay, well, liberal Tesla lover here. My sister has 2 in her family, so have not thrown any Molotov cocktails recently. But I wanted to talk to you about what DOGE has been doing. So you've been making cuts to a lot of the agencies that have open investigations and regulatory battles with your companies. At the same time, you continue to get billions in government contracts. Tesla gets billions in subsidies. How do you explain that to the American people?
Well, everything that DOGE does is an open book. So
No, it's not. Lie number 1.
I think the most transparent action, the most transparent organization in government ever. Every single DOGE action is listed on the doge.gov website.
Lie number 2.
It's also listed on the X handle. So if anyone has a concern about any one of those actions, they can bring that up. They can raise that. And I do want to say, like, sometimes we make a mistake. Nobody bats 1,000. We will.
Yeah, okay, this appeal to perfection bullshit, fuck off. You're not bowling 100, motherfucker.
Times make mistake, and make a mistake, we'll act very quickly to correct it.
You don't even know You don't even know what the mistakes are. And again, when you make a mistake with your own fucking company and you work to correct it or whatever, they do a recall, it costs you some money. But when it's Medicare, Medicaid, like aid to impoverished people or refugees or people like that, fucking people die, you slapdash bastard.
I am under such an extreme spotlight, so much scrutiny, that it's literally impossible for me to get away with anything.
It's literally easy for him to get away with everything. He has the president of the United States running cover, and the website sucks.
Nefarious, and obviously, nor do I wish to. So, this is a.
Well, then why not list every employee of the DOGE team? Give a dossier on who they are. How about make them sit before Congress and be interviewed individually as if they were cabinet officials? Be effectively, you know, if DOGE is a real department, maybe everybody in it should have to, at the very least, do what the average federal worker has to do.
Case where we have radical transparency.
Lie. Hashtag radical transparency is a lie.
We're actually willing to admit that we do make mistakes. Often people are not willing to admit they make mistakes, but we are.
What do you mean, Trump?
And
you mean like Mike Waltz? You mean like Pete Hegseth?
We want to emphasize we fix them quickly, and we're trying to do the right thing for the American taxpayer, for the American people. And I think history will be the judge that what we've done here and what we're doing is a very good thing for the strength and future of America.
So I just want you to, I know most of you are like, gee, that sounds like they hired a crisis PR team and they crafted a message to basically plug the holes in the dam that are happening with the MAGA crowd, who are suddenly starting to come to the realization that you're in it for yourself, and this is and hashtag DOGE is a heist. And this statement seems like it was made by ChatGPT, you know, or a marketing team using ChatGPT to cover your ass. Well, by the way, and apparently in the prompt for it, you were like, the people I'm talking to are obscenely gullible. Give me a statement that these dough-headed dumbasses will believe.
Okay. So, Elon, for one last time, why don't you remind the viewers why the election in Wisconsin is so important to America as well as the Trump agenda?
Yes, the Trump agenda. Also, read the other statement we brought you on to read.
Absolutely. So the reason that because it does seem like, why isn't this rather a small thing? And it's happening, ironically, of course, on April Fool's Day. This is not an April Fool's joke. This is very real.
It's so funny how it's sort of, you know, funny how April Fool's Day is a thing.
So a judge race election in Wisconsin will decide whether or not.
And again, I mean, I don't know. What do we congratulate Republicans on finding such a fine speaker with the, you know, orator skills of some of the greatest?
The Democrats can gerrymander Wisconsin in order to remove
or undo the gerrymandering that gave Trump a leg up that shouldn't have been done. That's the other way to look at it. I'm just throwing it out there that the gerrymandering actually happened, and the judges would decide to undo the gerrymandering that gave Republicans seats they don't deserve. So just another, you know, I'm saying, you know, there's another perspective just floating.
2 House seats from Republican to Democrat. Because of the razor-thin margins in the House, that would mean...
Yes, razor-thin margin equals mandate.
Potentially a flip of the House from Republican to Democrat.
Yes, and he'll be reading the same statement he read before.
At the next election, roughly less than 2 years from now, the House will then immediately take action to stop the president's agenda. And it's always worth reminding people the president was elected with a majority of the people of America.
Right, but that doesn't mean that the majority can eliminate the minority or the goals of the minority at that level. I mean, again, I know you think it's a mandate, but if the score from the last election was a baseball game, it'd be 1 3-pointer at the buzzer. So
a meaningful majority of the popular vote. So all the president is trying to do is implement the will of the people. And
I see. So the will of the people wouldn't, for some reason, those districts might be lost because the people in those districts won't like what Trump is doing. And therefore, they might be able to vote in such a way that they get to push back on his agenda. That's weird. Okay. So anyways, you were saying something about voice of the people.
they're trying to stop the will of the people through judicial trickery. And in fact, in general, there is a huge problem with activists that are actually politicians in judges' robes.
Oh, you mean like Clarence Thomas or Amy Coney Barrett or guess not.
And that needs to stop.
Eileen Cannon. Yeah, I agree. She should be impeached.
Undermining the integrity, the reality, and the perception of the integrity of the legal system of the United States.
Anyways, about Eileen Cannon.
And these fake judges should be ashamed of themselves. They are not.
I agree. Are you listening, Eileen Cannon?
They're just pretending to be judges, but they are not. They're making the law instead of implementing the law. It's wrong.
The law? The law? Sorry, was anyone harmed by them implementing the law?
Yes, and they're activists. And you say that you can both register and vote today?
Yeah, and that law that they're trying to vote on would eliminate that ability. So this is our last chance.
Yes, you can both register and vote today, and the voting stations.
And by the way, I agree. Democrats. Sorry. Let's see. Election. There you go. Let's see. Let's see if we go. Susan Crawford. There we go. So this is Susan Crawford right here. Everybody's voting for Susan Crawford. So Susan Crawford, Susan Crawford, Susan Crawford should be the Susan Crawford. Susan Crawford should be the name in everybody's mouth, because you'll notice he did not mention the person who is not Susan Crawford in this whole fucking thing. Just pointing that out. Like, granted, he clearly had like statements written for him to cover his ass with a bunch of Republican voters and the like, or to push this thing. And the assumption would be that the Republican is the person that they're voting for. So he's just skating on that. But does he even know not Susan Crawford's name? So people are voting for Susan Crawford today. Susan Crawford is the person. Everybody should be saying Susan Crawford everywhere. Just Susan Crawford. So Susan Crawford can Susan Crawford as best as Susan Crawford can Susan Crawford. And that also needs to be our ploy in all elections. That in the lead up, especially the last couple of weeks, the attacks on the other side should have already done their damage, and the entire push should come from languaging wise, should come towards elevating the name of the person that's valuable in this situation, especially Susan Crawford, who is Susan Crawfording to be the Susan Crawford that is part of the Supreme Court, so that she can be part of the Wisconsin Supreme Court as Judge Susan Crawford. You understand what I'm saying? So that when people go into that thing, they're like, scratch, scratch. Who are we voting for? Now, I don't know that. I don't know how Wisconsin's things look like, what they look like in the booth. But insofar as I know, in a lot of places anyways, it doesn't say whether you're a Democrat or Republican. It says what you did beforehand. And I would argue that when it comes to judges, it shouldn't say. It should not say your political party. But in this case, it doesn't matter. Susan Crawford. Susan Crawford, Susan Crawford, Susan Crawford, Susan Crawford, and also Susan Crawford. So Susan Crawford, her name should be all over shitter today, Susan Crawford. Also, yes, go Cory Booker, go. This is the tail end of this. P.S. Susan Crawford.
at 8 p.m. local time.
All right. Elon Musk, thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks, Super Genius, for being on here the entire time to promote this whole thing and telling us how important it is and never mentioning the fucking candidate once. Which, of course, is Susan Crawford. You should Susan Crawford as much as possible. I don't know who his guy is. But it is a guy, I think, maybe. I don't know. What is a man, really? I don't know. Can anybody say hashtag what is a man? But Susan Crawford should be the only name that you're reminded of. And again, it's not that hard. I mean, you should just be able to come out and go, this is the person and this is why. But he's so focused on just kind of the Trumpy authoritarianism of it, he can't even mention anybody else's fucking name except his own and Trump's. That's and by the way, super genius. Does it take a genius, ladies and gentlemen of the jury of my peers, the folks that are in the chat room? I don't think any of you would have to be reminded that if you were going on television to talk about a crucial election, you would remember to bring up the name of the candidate that people should be voting for. Right? I mean, that should be baseline, right? You bet your ass if I was on one of these shows and they'd be like, Susan Crawford is the person you need to vote for today because these issues and these issues, because Susan Crawford will blah, blah, blah. So that people remember the name Susan Crawford. This motherfucker can't even bring himself to and again, maybe this is the benefit of having megalomaniacal assholes trying to create this kleptocratic oligarchy that they're trying, because if they weren't megalomaniacal, I mean, I guess, would you even try it if you weren't a megalomaniac, right, was the thing. But let's say that there were people trying to do this kind of a flip because they were, I don't know, doped up, or they believed in their own minds that this was the way to go because they were religious fanatics or some shit like that. But they weren't about themselves. They might be able to get a lot more of this shit through. They'd be able to convince a lot more people. They're at the margins right now. And again, zero fucking mandate. I'd like to remind everyone, no mandate. There's no mandate. There wasn't a mandate. There's not a mandate. There's not going to be a mandate.